Yo, good morning, wealth champions. Today, we're talking about closing the Black wealth gap via entrepreneurship. In particular, how to turn your intellectual capital into intellectual property. One of the shortest distances between wealthy and working class is entrepreneurship. And one of the best or entry-level places to enter this whole entrepreneurship world is via information products. And I'm going to share with you guys exactly how to do that. We're going to reference an article from Inc. magazine that talks about the 7 different ways to turn your knowledge into income. So if that sounds like something that you want to partake in, then definitely you're in the right place at the right time, man. So comment the name of your business and or your brand. Let me give you a free business shout out. If you don't have a business or a brand, then stick around. I'm going to show you how you can start a business today and get on the right side of capitalism. So without further ado, ladies and gentlemen, let's officially start the show. Yo, what's up, Ultimate Hustlers, and welcome to the Cortez Hustle Show, the business podcast for the entrepreneur of the 21st century. And I'm your host, Cortez Hustle. Our goal is to give you a behind-the-scenes look at how the world's greatest hustlers build amazing brands, scale their businesses to incredible heights, sell more, make more, and create mass movements that impact the world. It doesn't matter if you're a seasoned vet or you're sitting on the sidelines with aspirations to one day unleash your inner hustle. This show will provide the insights into how pure grit, determination, and hard work has morphed into some of the most iconic brands and personalities and how they are moving the culture forward. You'll get a mix of solo shows featuring yours truly, as well as interviews and content from other hustlers that I either know personally or I've learned from or whose grind I've come to know and respect. And you'll also get exclusive recordings from our membership called Monetize My Life Academy, which you can check out at monetizemylifeacademy.com. That's a program where we go live every month with some of the best hustlers on the planet, sharing best practices on how we all can explode our brands with advanced branding and marketing tactics, business development strategies, and financial game planning necessary to build the empires we all desire. Again, that's at monetizemylifeacademy.com. If you like today's episode, chances are the hustlers you're connected to will like it as well. Share it with those in your network. And when you do, use hashtag Cortez Hustle so I can see you and hopefully give you a shout out and share you in my stories. So check out today's episode and make sure you subscribe to the feed on your favorite podcasting networks. Welcome to the Cortez Hustle Show this morning, ladies and gentlemen. I am your host, Cortez Hustle, also known as the one and only financial health mentor, everybody's favorite fatherpreneur from monetizemylifeacademy.com, the premier digital marketing mastermind for entrepreneurs looking to get the most out of the internet and leverage social media to build attractive, powerful, and profitable online brands that attract their ideal prospects to them and converts those prospects into raving fans or paying customers, mostly on autopilot. Check that out at monetizemylifeacademy.com. Ladies and gentlemen, we're talking about a subject matter that is near and dear to my heart. And as always, I am solution oriented. And that topic is closing the Black wealth gap. And I think in order for us to really close the Black wealth gap, you absolutely must understand your role in this capitalistic economy and how to shift or reposition yourself. And I'm actually going to give you a game plan today to do that. So you got to stick around, man. So really quickly, a couple quick announcements. If you have not already shared the show, please smash that share button and also comment the name of your business and or your brand. Love to give you a free business shout out. Dr. Deborah Dunstan says, yes, I made it in time this time. Well, welcome to the stream this morning, Dr. Deborah. So let us know the name of your business and on your brand, a little bit about what you do. Just don't post any links. And I'd love to give you a free business shout out. We've got to congratulate Crystal Williams Crystal Evans, yesterday's winner of our free vacation. She answered our question of the day, which we're going to give you here in a second. We also have our quote of the day. And then, of course, we got 1 minute motivation in the building as well. Fahim, what's going on, my brother? So congratulations to Crystal Evans for winning the free vacation. She hasn't picked her destination yet, but when she does, I'm going to send her that voucher and she's going to be on her way. Also, I'm looking for about 5 or 6 single moms who want to add another stream of income to their household. I've got a great product and service in the financial education space. It will help them personally get their cash flow up, get their taxes down, get their debts down, get their credit score up, and also learn to invest. And we're actually offering a 50% discount for our single moms who want better cash flow, but also who need another stream of income. They'll get to work with our exclusive team of financial educators, learn how to build a brand in the financial education space, and be a blessing to themselves and to others. So if you know a single mom, tag them in this video. If you are a single mom and you're looking for opportunity to add some other revenue to your household, then text your name and keyword single mom to 314-874-6887. If you're going to be in line for this scholarship, there's a short interview process. We have to understand your aspirations and your dreams and your ambitions. If they line up with ours, then we want to give you a 50% off scholarship to this wonderful program that's going to help you with your finances. Now we have our question of the day. And the question of the day is this, ladies and gentlemen. On the Cortez Hustle Show, we do this segment every day, every episode. And in order for you to enter the drawing to win a free vacation, then you must answer this question of the day. But I won't know if you responded to the question of the day unless you put QOTD in front of your answer. So my good friend, Stephen Russ, posted this in our group the other day. And I thought it was interesting to share with you guys, especially in alignment with today's topic. The question is this: what can you give a 40-minute presentation right now with no preparation? What subject matter or topic can you give a 40-minute presentation on with no preparation, right? Now we're going somewhere with this, so think about that. What is it that you know? What is it that you've experienced? What kind of knowledge or background do you have? Question of the day for today is: what subject or topic can you give a 40-minute presentation on with no preparation, right? So I have a lot of those things. Video marketing was my answer to the question in the group. So let me know, put QOTD in the comments, and then QOTD before your answer. Fahim has already jumped in and said, hey man, African American history is something that I can do a 40-minute presentation on with no preparation. So do me a favor, man. If you have not already smashed the share button, go ahead and do that. Comment in the chat where you're from, drop the name of your business and or your brand. And y'all know I like to start the show with a quote. So the quote of the day right here on the Cortez Hustle Show is from the late, great Jim Rohn and his mentor, Mr. Schultz, right? So the quote is this: work harder on yourself than you do your job. Working hard on your job will make you a living. Working hard on yourself will make you a fortune. It's the great Jim Rohn, man. Listen, working hard on your job will make you a living, but working hard on yourself will make you a fortune, right? Each and every single one of you guys can have more if you want. How do I know each and every one of you guys can have more? Because each and every one of you can do more. Cortez, you don't know me. How do you know I can do more? I'm doing all I can with what I have. The reason I know that you can do more is because I know that you can become more, or you can be more. It's all about how much time, energy, effort, and money you're putting into working on yourself. Be, do, have. If you want more, become more. And as you become more, your capacity to do more increases. And as you are able to do more, you can then have more. So if you got a favorite quote, then share that with your boy in the comments, man. I would love to recognize you for your favorite quote. But that was a good one from Jim Rohn. Work harder on yourself than you do your job. Working hard on your job will make you a living. Working hard on yourself will make you a fortune. Jim Rohn via his mentor, Mr. Schultz. Quote of the day right here on the Cortez Hustle Show. Now, let's get down to it, man. Listen, we know why there's a wealth gap between Black people and other cultures. And my focus is not on the why. My focus is more on the solution. But we know slavery, Jim Crow, redlining, we know discrimination in every form imaginable was all designed to help keep us powerless from an economic standpoint. See, a lot of us got wrapped up into some of the social things, right? And I'm not saying there's anything wrong with that, right? Social integration, being accepted and all of those things. But the real weapon known as discrimination, its real aim was to keep us economically disenfranchised, right? So Plato says, play to win says, my quote is, make money, not excuses. I love that. I love that. So we know that we know why the wealth gap is so huge, right? We know why that is, but I'm not focused on the why, right? There's enough people pontificating and talking about the why. Let me tell you why I'm so solution oriented, guys, because here's what I've come to find out is the more you talk about a problem, the bigger the problem gets and your solution seems small. The more you talk about a problem, the bigger that problem gets and your solution seems small. And sometimes we can talk about these problems and make them so big that our solution will seem so small that it also becomes insignificant. So we don't even try to solve the problem because we've made it so big. But we live in a world of duality. So guess what? The more you talk about the solutions, the bigger the solutions get and the smaller the problems become. And then you talk about the solution so much, solutions get so big, you start asking yourself, why in the heck haven't we solved this problem? Why in the heck have we not solved this problem with all of these solutions that we talk about? So I'm going to talk about some solutions today, right? I believe, this is my personal belief, and this is no disrespect for any movement or anybody who is doing it different, right? But we've gone down the road of trying to attack this wealth gap from an institutional standpoint, meaning we've come together in churches and nonprofit organizations and different movements to attack this generational gap, this economic empowerment gap, right? And a lot of times what's happening is when I become part of an organization or an institution and we want to go after this economic empowerment solution or create this economic empowerment solution, and we all start contributing some of our money to this organization, and the organization starts to make headways and start doing different things in order to close this wealth gap. What happens is, in a lot of cases, economic stress hits the individuals within the organization. Now, where as an individual, I was able to contribute a couple $100s a month to this cause, I then get laid off on my job. And during the layoff on my job, I'm no longer able to contribute my couple $100s per month. And if that happens to 10%, 20% of this organization, now this whole institution folds and crumbles, right? So I think the approach can be flipped. Instead of taking an institutional approach, we can take an individual approach. Well, Cortez, what do you mean an individual approach? How about we close the wealth gap one family at a time, one individual at a time, right? What do you mean? See, in order for us to really take advantage of the opportunity, the land that we are in here in America that is flowing with milk and honey, and don't start talking about the opportunities aren't here for Black people, because I'm going to shut you down off the rip. This is one of, if not the greatest place for opportunities on the planet. Now, I can't disagree that there are not more challenges and obstacles in my way as a Black man. I can't disagree that those obstacles are multiplied 2 to 10x for my Black sister. But I cannot get on the bandwagon that says there's not adequate opportunity here in this country for us to make significant change in our economic status and state. But the concern I have is our unwillingness to attack the foundation and the core and the root cause of the problem, and that is economic. Fahim said it best, man. The financial illiteracy in this country in general is rampant, but the financial illiteracy rate in our community is 100 times worse. And here's what I mean by 100 times worse. See, you could be financially illiterate if you're part of another family in this country. When I say family, you can make that word interchangeable with culture, nationality, or what have you. But really, these are families, right, that have been built over generations, right? And we got to start seeing ourselves as a family, right? So when we look at, let's say, our white brothers and sisters who are not financially literate as they could be, right? Versus a Black family who is not financially literate either. Well, because of the 150-year head start, that white family may not be financially literate, but they're inheriting houses, life insurance policies, businesses. Even if they're not financially literate, the wealth is already there because of the 150-year head start. So if anybody on this planet in this country can afford not to be financially literate, it's some of the other cultures on the planet. We don't have that luxury, my friends. We don't have that luxury, my friends, right? We have to take charge of what we consume in our own education, our own knowledge. The same way that we had, and Brother Fahim can appreciate this, the same way that we had to take ownership of us going out to find and learn our own history, because they didn't teach it to us. We had to have the Dr. Benz and the great ministers Farrakhan and the Honorable Elijah Muhammad. We had to have our own scholars go out around the world and gather this information and bring it back to us and teach it to us. Well, guess what, ladies and gentlemen? We've got to do the exact same thing for our economic empowerment. We got to go out and search and source and find the information that builds wealth individually. And then we can't be hoarders of this information. That's why I do this show. That's why I'm so passionate. I can't afford to be a hoarder of this information. Even if I can't execute on all of the things that I know, I got to at least put it out there so that somebody else can take a hold of it and they can execute. And then they can share it with their family and they can pass it down generationally. But we got to take responsibility and ownership of these things ourselves, right? That's first. Then on the other side of 1 Minute Motivation, we're going to dive deep into how each and every single one of you can reposition yourself in this economy today. And I want you to take this information and I want you to go share it with 10 people, face to face, mouth to mouth. Sit down with the people in your family. And if y'all have to watch this together, then do that. Speaking of which, if you have not already shared this show, then shame on you, right? We can no longer afford to hoard information, ladies and gentlemen. And some of you are on this show saying, I can't share because then all of my friends and followers are going to follow him. Get out of here with that, man. We've got to share information, and that's what breaks down this barrier that we're talking about. But it is 7:22, so it is time for 1 Minute Motivation right here on the Cortez Hustle Show. We talked about the Jim Rohn quote that says, work harder on yourself than you do on your job, because working harder on yourself creates, you can build a fortune. So 1 Minute Motivation is where I play a 1 minute motivational video. You guys comment your takeaways, and then I'm gonna give you a couple of my takeaways. And then of course we shout out our sponsor for today. So right here on the Cortez Hustle Show, this is 1 Minute Motivation. Check it out.
Guess what? You're gonna make some mistakes. The person who has never made a mistake hasn't done anything. You're gonna fall flat on your face. You're gonna be criticized when you come out into the arena called life. You're gonna feel awkward and stupid and dumb sometimes. It goes with the territory, but it's okay.
There's nothing wrong with you when you're scared, when you're worried, when you feel inadequate. We all do that. You're not alone. See, folks, it's the easiest thing in the world to be negative. It's the hardest thing in the world to be positive. It's the easiest thing in the world to be sad. You know, folks, you're going to have dozens of things every day of your life that'll give you a reason to be sad. It's the easiest thing in the world to get down. It's the hardest thing in the world to stay up. It's the easiest thing in the world to give up, to quit. It's the hardest thing in the world to keep on fighting. The hardest thing in the world is to believe in you, to believe you're special, to believe you're different, to believe you're supposed to be somebody. The hardest thing in the world is, in spite of all your fears, all your worries, all your doubts, is to believe in yourself one more time.
Hoo-wee. I don't know about y'all, my friend. That right there gets me fired up. So comment a takeaway that you got from that video if you're in position to type, and we'll see what comments we have, man. But that right there is fire, my friends. You said we're all going to make mistakes, right? One of the underlying things between those who are successful and those who are failure is this idea that a lot of people are afraid of failure. I don't know why though, because we've all failed, right? Really, it's not being afraid to fail as much as it is being afraid to be a failure, right? See, the biggest obstacle that most of us will ever overcome in our lives is we have to get away from what we think other people are thinking about us. See, I'm not afraid to fail as much as I am afraid of what I think other people will think about me failing. Come on now. Let's talk about it. See, it's not the fail, because I know that trying beats not trying. But what I'm afraid of is what I think other people will think about me failing. So I would rather not even try, because what I think they're going to think about me, I think they're going to call me a failure. First and foremost, guys, let me tell you this. People got stuff going on in their lives, and most of them ain't thinking about you at all. Right? They got their own mess. And if they do, that's a small-minded person. Small minds think and talk about other people, right? So he also said the easiest thing to do is to be negative, is to give up, is to quit, right? That is huge, huge. So now that you understand that you don't want to take that path because it's super easy for you, then that gives you something to fight for. And then he said, believe in yourself one more time. Can I get an amen? You got to believe in yourself one more time. Fall down 7, get up 8. Here's another thing that we have to really wrap our minds around on our pursuit of success. The book I read tells me all things are possible for him that believes. It didn't say it's possible for me to build a media empire that rivals Ted Turner and Walt Disney someday. It didn't say that's possible if my mama believes that for me. It didn't say that's possible if my grandma believed that for me. It didn't say, Cortez, you can build a media empire as long as your sugar believes it. No, it said all things are possible for me, him, her, that person. There's only one person required to believe it. That's me. You don't got to believe it. Your sister, brother, cousin, uncle don't got to believe it. The only person required to believe is you. Now, my question to you, my friend, is how big is your belief? That, my friends, is 1 minute motivation right here on the Cortez Hustle Show, where we love the power of personal growth and self-development. I just encourage every one of you to be intentional about that power, because everything is personal growth and self-development. Everything that you consume contributes to your personal growth and self-development. The question is, which direction are you going in? All right. So 1 minute motivation is brought to you by the Digital Empire System. Guys, we have a digital empire platform that allows you to create your sales funnels, create your websites, create your membership sites, everything that you need to build and explode your digital brand. And you can get started for just $1. And guys, if you're serious about making money in the online space, then I can show you how you can take that $1 investment into this platform and you can turn it into 700 in about 30 days or less. All you got to do is comment Digital Empire, and I'll show you, or I'll share with you the link where you can get started for just $1. So we're talking about closing the Black wealth gap, and we're talking about the need for financial literacy, right? I'm going to say something that's going to probably hurt some of y'all because you won't understand what I'm saying, and I'm going to try to break it down and make it clear. But if you work hard for every dollar you get, that's the first sign that you're financially illiterate. Now, don't get it twisted. I'm not saying that you can get through this life without working hard, guys. Listen, hard work works. But this is what I'm saying. If you work hard for every dollar you get, and we've been taught and trained to brag about that, oh man, you can't, man, I work hard for all my money. If you work hard for every dollar you get, that's a sign that you're financially illiterate. I heard that for the first time from a very wealthy gentleman by the name of Alvin Curry. If you work hard for every dollar you get, that's a sign that you're financially illiterate. Why? Because some of the dollars that you work for, when you got a financial understanding, you should be putting those dollars to work in the marketplace to work for you. All of your money can't come from your physical labor, because the day's going to come when you either can't work, you don't want to work, or you're not wanted by an employer to work. Then what? So let's talk about repositioning yourself within this economy. Before we did the 1 minute motivation, I was talking about how there's institutions that are trying to address this problem of economic empowerment. I think it could be addressed on the individual level. What do you mean, Cortez? If enough of us just take responsibility to become financially literate first and foremost, then we can come together as two families that are financially literate, and we start building, creating other financially literate families. Now we create neighborhoods and communities of financially literate adults and individuals, and then that will spread and permeate, right? But here's what you got to understand, that in this country, every one of us was born a sole proprietor. They call your identifier a social security number in one aspect. But when you cross the line to the other side of capitalism, which is the producer side, which is the only way we're going to close the wealth gap, is we go from consumer to producer. That same number, they call it something different. Anybody know what they call it? If you go from consumer to producer, that same number that they gave you when you were born, they call it a social security number when you're a consumer. What do they call that number when you go to the producer side? Anybody know? See, in this country, you were born a sole proprietor. America is a business, and everybody born to this country is also a business. The price that you pay, though, for not doing business is high taxes. Roy Davis said it right. It's EIN. So when you are a consumer, that number is a social security number. When you are a producer, that number is an EIN. So that means you already have a business. Whether you file a piece of paperwork, you already are in business. You're just not doing business. So we've got to figure out how then do Cortez I shift from being a consumer into a producer. Well, I'm glad you asked. I'm glad you asked, ladies and gentlemen, because we have this wonderful invention for the last 25 years called the internet that has literally leveled the playing field. No more is there a gatekeeper that determines who can start a business and who can't. No more is there a gatekeeper that says, hey, if you got talent, I've got to approve of your talent before you can get a record deal or a movie contract or become an actor or a comedian. No more is there a gatekeeper that says you're not good enough for me to invest in you to sell your product or to promote you. You can do all of that stuff yourself. Go straight and direct to the consumer. And here's what I want you guys to get. Before this decade ends, I can't remember the source of the report, and I'm going to show you an article here so that validates what I'm saying, right? Before the end of this decade, the information product business is slated to be a $1 billion per day industry. Before the end of this decade, some people say by 2025, information product, online education is going to be a $1 billion per day industry. Well, Cortez, what in the heck does that have to do with closing the Black wealth gap? I'm glad you asked. Listen, guys, the shortest distance between working class and wealth is entrepreneurship. Hands down, the shortest distance between working class and wealth is entrepreneurship. The lowest barrier of entry into the world of entrepreneurship is to find one or two ways to get paid for one or two things that you already love doing, then build a brand and a system around it. Well, Cortez, I still don't get it. You're talking information products. You're talking taking a gift or a passion and turning it into a business. You're talking about closing the wealth gap. How does all of that happen? How does all that help close the Black wealth gap? Watch this. You got to stay with me. You got to stay with me. When you go from producer to consumer, or I'm sorry, from consumer to producer, you get to leverage the number one tool in the entire world for building wealth, and that is the United States tax code. Now, I want to access this tax code and I want to start a business, but Cortez, I thought I needed thousands of dollars to start a business. No, we got the internet. We got the internet. Now, this is no disrespect to anybody who is a business service professional, attorneys, CPAs, enrolled agents. This is no disrespect to y'all. You definitely should have these people in your corner. But let me just show you that you could start where you are with what you have and know that that is enough, right? Somebody put in the comments, if you will. Matter of fact, you guys already put in the comments. You answered the question of the day. You answered the question of the day. The question of the day is, what could you give a 40-minute presentation on right now with no preparation, right? The reason that question is significant because that question, the answer to that question becomes your information product, right? So let me just go back and read a few of these question of the days real quick. Let's see. Fahim says African-American history. George says business tax compliance. Milt says credit education. And all right, so let's just take those three things: business tax compliant, credit education, African-American history, right? You guys realize that we have this tool called the internet, where if George wanted to create an ebook today, and if he marketed it well enough, he could actually make more money selling the ebook than he can doing tax compliance for his clients. Milton does credit education. He can sit down with you and he can help you improve your credit. But you know, if Milt turned that into a digital product, he could sell way more of it. Why? Because there's no time limitation. There's only so many people he could physically sit down with in 24 hours. There's no limit to how many courses he could sell all over the world. Because when he's sitting down with people, he's sometimes bound geographically. Now, I know that we got Zoom and virtual technologies, but you guys starting to understand? You picking up what I'm laying down? Listen, Trevor Ott, the Black CEO, said, there's more in what you know than what you do. So what does that mean? That means it's time for us to understand how to leverage technology to get in the game, people. How to leverage technology to get in the game. It's simple. You already got a tax ID number. When you're on the consumer side, it's called a social security number. When you go to the producer side, it's called a EIN. Now, if you wanted to get you a separate EIN, guess how much it costs you? Nothing. IRS.gov, get you a separate EIN number for free. What does it cost you to file an LLC in your state? What does it cost you to set up your corporation and submit those paperwork to your Secretary of State? I don't know. Do your research. Look it up. What does it cost you to have an attorney? Like I see my brother Thomas H. Clifton in the building. What does it cost you to sit down with an attorney like Thomas H. Clifton and have him draft your paper? I don't know. Ask him. I know that you can get a domain name from GoDaddy for about $14. I know that you can get a website if you comment at Digital Empire. I'll give you my system that I use for $1. You can have your website up and running before the end of the day. You're in business. Well, Cortez, I get that you're trying to get me in business, but how does that close the Black wealth gap? How does that close the Black wealth gap, Cortez? Watch this. When you go from consumer to producer, you get to access the #1 wealth building tool in the whole world, which is the United States tax code, right? And you guys may not believe that it's the #1 tool, but people literally put their lives on the line to get here so they can access it. You were born here and you're not accessing it. I'm just saying, like Kermit though, that ain't my business. But if you started a business based on a gift, talent, special ability that you already have, right? You've gone through something and came out on the other side of it. And how you got through it is valuable to somebody else. For instance, my mom was in a domestic violence relationship when I was younger, right? She got through that. There were some things that she went through to get through that. Do you not realize that if my mom decided to write an ebook or a book or a course telling other women who might be in that, how she got through that, they will find value in that? Right? Some of you guys, based on what you do for a living for another company, you've never thought to do that same thing for yourself. I got a good friend who was in HR for 20 years in corporate America. She finally figured out that, Cortez, I look at resumes 24/7, 365. You think I couldn't teach somebody how to write a resume? And she started her own business, helping people navigate through the HR process, how to do interviews, how to sit your resumes up, how to do your cover letters. A skill set that she learned on the job for 20 years in corporate America. She never thought to do it for herself. Okay, Cortez, I get it. But how does this close the Black wealth gap? It's simple. 4 major things that's causing poverty in this country for Black people or white people, just in general, based on how the system is set up. #1, inflation. Our dollar is not backed by anything, and every fiat currency throughout history has all gone back to their original intrinsic value, which is pretty much nothing. Every fiat currency in history that has ever been created has always gone back to nothing, right? So that's what's happening to our dollar. Then you got taxes. Your penalty for not doing business in this country because you were born a business, America says, oh, you're not bringing anything to the table. You don't want to contribute to the gross domestic product of this country. Okay, we got something for you. It's called high taxes. So when you work a job only, you are taxed the most. So you got to deal with that. Because of inflation and taxes, then debt creeps in. I make $50,000 on my job. I bring home 35. Well, I want to live a $50,000 lifestyle. Well, how do I get back to 50,000? I have to borrow 15,000 every year, i.e. credit cards, personal loans. I have to finance all of my big ticket purchases, cars, houses. So you got to deal with the debt issue. And the reason we're passing down generational poverty instead of generational wealth is because after we deal with inflation, after we deal with taxes, after we pay all our debts, we don't have anything left to accumulate any assets. So here's why starting a business makes so much sense. When you start a business, especially if you have a job, you're going to be able to legally, ethically, and morally cut your tax bill in half. That means if you are paying $20,000 in taxes, you will pay 10. That means that frees up $10,000 for you every year. The question is, what do you do with that 10,000? You take some of it and you build an emergency fund. You take some of it and you start paying down your debt, especially high revolving credit card debt, because that's going to boost your credit score. You take some of it and you start investing, people. Well, Cortez, I don't know what to invest in. Learn. learn. Caveat from qualified people, right? And then because you're in business, you might as well learn how to make that business profitable. Now you got even more money to pay down your debts even faster. And once your debts are paid down, the money that was going to the banks, that money can now go into your investments. So we close the wealth gap by individually becoming financially literate, right? Yeah, he said, don't forget life insurance. That's part of the investment. That's part of the asset allocation. It's critical, especially when you understand infinite banking, right? That's a whole nother show. I'm trying to get Carmen and Darius from Wealth Nation on so that they can really break that thing down for us. But when you understand infinite banking, you literally become your own bank, right? But that's one of the things that you can do with your money. But the problem is most people think they can't afford life insurance. And when you finish with inflation, taxes, debt, and all of those things, sometimes you can't. So you think. But if starting a business increases your take-home pay on your job by $300 to $600 per month, you can take 100 of those dollars and invest in some insurance every single month. You can take another 100 of those dollars and start building an emergency fund. The other 100 you can take and start paying down some of your high revolving credit card debt and free up even more money, right? So I'm going to show you this article for Inc. magazine, and I already know that we got to do a part 2 to this show. But I want you guys to get this and understand, because this is not just me saying it. There's a phenomenon happening all over the world where people are literally taking their gifts, their talents, their experiences. They're taking what we call the intellectual capital. See, we talk about the 1 trillion, 2 trillion, whatever that number is in 2021, collective buying power that we have. But y'all know where our real power is? It's in our collective intellectual capital. We start aggregating that and it's game over. And how do you start aggregating that? Is with information products, right? 7 ways to make money off your knowledge, right? Let's just get right to it. I'm just going to give you these 7, right? Number 1, you can write articles or blogs. Number 2, you can write a book. Number 3, you can create an online course. Number 4, you can provide coaching or consulting. Number 5, you can give talks, become a motivational, inspirational, empowering speaker. Number 6, you can develop a mastermind group. Number 7, you can host events, and now online events, virtual events, all based on a gift, talent, or special ability or an experience that you've overcome. Now, I'll put the link to this article. This is the Inc. This is from Inc.com, right? Not just me saying this, y'all. There's a phenomenon taking place that we're not taking advantage of. There's nothing wrong with doing things to make money, but there's more in what you know than what you do. Let me help you guys with this analogy right there. How many of you guys remember the California Gold Rush or did any studying on the California Gold Rush? Comment California, just comment Gold Rush if you understand or are aware of the California Gold Rush. There's a time in our history where people started to understand the value of gold and they went to find it, right? Words are blurring for me. Yeah, I'll put the link to the actual article so you can just click on the article and read it for yourself. Yvette, sorry about that. There was a time in our history where everybody fled out to California because they figured out that there was gold in the ground, right? Well, in any industry, there's always 4 major players where people are making the money. You have number 1, your practitioner. These were the people who went out and they actually dug in the ground and they looked for the gold. They were actually doing the gold mining, right? The practitioners. And that practitionership goes on every level. That's the individual who, hey, I'm just going to dig in my backyard. That's the actual person who owns a gold mine. They bought the side of a mountain and they're going in looking for gold, right? It goes from beginner all the way up to super advanced. That's the practitioner. And then you also have the person who sold the tools to the practitioners, right? That would be the 200-year-old companies like Levi's. Some of the tool companies started during that time period, right? Now they've morphed and changed names and all that kind of stuff. But some of the tool companies who made the pickaxes, the shovels, the pans, everything that you need to find the gold, the clothes like Levi's created, denim was created because of that whole deal, right? So you got the practitioners, you got the person or the companies or the entities who sell the tools to the practitioners. Then you got the people who sell the information to the practitioners. Hey man, listen, I got this map. It's going to show you exactly where the gold is. X marks the spot. Give me $20 and I'll give you this map. And then you go find the gold. You got the people who sell the information. Hey, listen, I found this method of panning the gold. Most people are doing it wrong. That's why they're not seeing or finding the gold, because most of the gold are not in big nuggets. It's actually in these smaller granular sizes. But if you get enough grains together, you can have your. So you got the people who are selling the information, all the way from just, hey, I got a map, or all the way to, hey, this is what you do with the gold. This is how you refine the gold. It's the information. And the fourth person you have is the person who finances the operations. Hey man, listen, I'm about to head to California. I'm about to go find me some of this gold. But to go from St. Louis to California in a wagon, I need some resources. I need some money. Can you lend me some money? And if I get there and I strike gold, then we're going to split everything 50. You got the financiers, right? Let me help you guys understand something about where we are today in this digital gold rush. In this digital gold rush, guys, we have the ability to be the practitioner. We have the ability to sell the information. We got the ability to sell the tools. And we even have the ability to do the financing. See, some of you guys are saying, well, Cortez, I can't build a business. I can't run a business, right? But you got a homegirl who is the absolute best at something. Your high six-figure job don't allow you to do much of anything, but you can take $20,000 and invest in your homegirl and help her blow her thing up. And now you have a business. So those of you who commented digital empire, I'm going to show you a system that I use that allows me to do all three of those things at the same time. I'm a practitioner. With that system, I build my own website, sales funnels, membership areas. With that system, I sell my ebooks, which is the information. With that system, it's a tool in and of itself. So I sell the tool to other entrepreneurs who need a digital marketing platform themselves. And won't be long before I'll actually be investing in other entrepreneurs, helping them fund their operations. That's where we are today. This is how we close the Black wealth gap. We got to understand the power in which we have in our intellectual capital. We've got to learn the tools, the strategies, the resources, the tips on taking this intellectual capital and turning it into intellectual property that we can then sell. This show is intellectual property copywritten by iHustle Media Group, right? And that is our biggest amount of wealth that is untapped. That's why the cover photo for this this show says money in my mind, not money on my mind, money in my mind, because the money is right there. The money is already there. You just got to understand how to mine it. Going back to my Gold Rush reference, the great Dr. Dennis Kimbrough says everybody gets 4 ideas every year that will make them a millionaire if they would just act on it. So yeah, I know a part 2 was coming, man, because I'm actually, let's see, Monday, because I got a special guest coming on tomorrow, and he's going to talk about some of this stuff as well. But Monday, we'll do part 2. My special guest tomorrow is Michael Woods L. He's going to be breaking down where the money is. If you're already in business and you're looking for funding, he's going to help you find $10,000 that you already have in your business before you even go outside of your business, right? But Monday, we'll do part 2 of this, and I'll show you how to do some of those things. I'm even going to create a digital product right in front of your face. That's going to be on Monday's show. So let's get to the question of the day. You guys got awful quiet on me. I know it's getting close to 8 o'clock, so some of you guys are clocking in to work and doing what you got to do. But man, y'all got quiet on me from the 7:50 mark. Right? You must be sharing some good information because my device keeps freezing up on me today. Yeah, if your device is freezing up, you can always check us out on YouTube, and the podcast will be available on iTunes, Stitcher, all your podcasting places by 9 o'clock this morning. So the question of the day for today was, what can you give a 40-minute presentation on right now with no preparation? That means you know this information so incredibly well that you don't have to prepare for it. Ladies and gentlemen, that is your digital product. You just got to record it. You just got to put it into a digital format. You got to digitize it and learn how to market, promote it, and sell it. So the question of the day today is, what can you give a 40-minute presentation on with no preparation? And my answer is a few different things. And that's why you guys tune into the show every morning. Video marketing is one of the things that I can give a 40-minute presentation on. In fact, I'm going to give, that's one of the products we're going to create live on Monday for you guys. Of course, how to podcast, how to video blog, how to video podcast is another one that I can give a talk on. How to build wealth, leveraging the power of the tax code is another one. So you guys starting to see, because I posted this in one of the groups that I'm a part of, and there were people posting so much stuff. And my question was, do you have your own products based on this? And 90% of the people are saying no. They're waiting on somebody to give them permission to create a product, right? They know that they got a book in them, but they won't write the book unless a publisher comes and says, hey, I want to invest in you to write the book. We got the internet. Write the book and take it straight to the marketplace. When enough people start creating buzz around that book, guess who's coming? The publishers. Hey, I would like to republish that book under our publishing company, and here's a $50,000 advance. And oh yeah, we like to put you under contract to publish your next book too. We don't have to wait anymore, guys. We have direct access to the consumers. And I don't care what it is that you like to do. It could be underwater basket weaving. Guess what? There's a community of people waiting on you to come and share your perspective of underwater basket weaving with them. And they'll buy your products. They'll take your recommendations. They'll support you. They'll join your community. They'll invest monthly in your monthly masterminds, whatever it is that you're doing, guys. But you gotta believe that it's possible. That, my friend, is 1 minute motivation right here. I'm sorry. That, my friend, is the question of the day right here on the Cortez Hustle Show. And hopefully you guys are starting to see that you have money in your mind. Don't just have money on your mind. Know that you have money in your mind. And if you need help, that's what Thornton Online Marketing does. That's what my company does. We help you get the money that's in your mind out of your mind. Take it from intellectual capital and turn it into an intellectual property. And then we can show you how to market, promote, and sell that thing as well. So with that, my friends, till I talk to you next time, I want you to get your money up because you absolutely can do it. But more importantly, you deserve to do it, man. Each and every single one of you. Now hustle up. But you've got to overcome fear if you're going to win.